In this episode of Games and Grub, we discuss the one game where it's cool to be a square, Minecraft, and we also analyze the best and worst colas we've ever had.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Games and Grub podcast. We're your hosts, Bennett.
Hello.
And Jess. And buckle up, because it's coming at you fast.
Yeah, today we are talking about Minecraft. And Minecraft is a game that we've both been playing for a very long time. I don't even want to know what kind of playtime we've racked up on this game. It's probably pretty disgusting. At least for me.
Oh, no,
I've been playing since before the official release, which a lot of people have, because this game was in beta for a while. I've probably been playing since like 2010, with, lots of breaks in between, but it's a game you can keep coming back to.
I actually can't say when I first started playing because, I don't know, I have poor memory, but I've been playing it for a while too. I think, would you say I've been playing as early as like 2012 or something like that? Maybe even earlier.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Sure.
I mean, you probably started on Xbox, so
yeah,
that was a little later.
Xbox, I remember playing a lot of split screen with some friends on that. So that's like, I definitely like began playing Minecraft on Xbox split screen, but I have since transitioned to computer because I think it's a lot more of an enjoyable experience. But don't underestimate the enjoyment of split screen. I'll tell you that much.
Yep. I'd definitely say it's a game that works better with keyboard and mouse, but maybe that's just because I'm a lot more used to that. But anyway, this game's been out officially since 2011, but you could play a little bit earlier if you wanted to play beta in 2009 and after. So that's when it was in development, and then technically it's still in development. They're always updating it, but I guess they called 2011 the official release, so that's what we're going with.
I honestly don't really understand the whole point of saying, like, when it's completely released. Like, you know how you just said it's, released or whatever, but they're still adding content to it, and I don't understand how that works. Because, like, I feel like there are a lot of games that do that, like, they say they're completely released, and then they continue adding content, so I don't know what the point is in specifying whether it's not done or done, because you're still adding stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that either. A lot of games, I think, abuse that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's almost an excuse to not ever have a quality product, and thankfully Minecraft's not like that. I think it came out kind of before all these games would just stay in early access forever.
Yeah.
And Minecraft actually used that time to make the game better and add a lot of features and fix a lot of bugs, and so I think they just, once the game was at a solid enough point, they called that the official release, which I think was pretty close to when it came out for consoles and mobile and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have just continued to add features since then, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's changed. The game has changed a lot over the years. I mean, they've added a lot of different features. And I think, I guess we'll get into this a little bit more, but I've kind of, like, heard from you that you're not a fan of, like, some of the changes you're not a fan of in this game, yeah?
I don't exactly dislike it. It's just, it feels like when you don't play for a while, you have to spend so much time learning what has changed, because they go back and change mechanics that have been in the game for a long time, and it's completely different. And so, even though I've been playing for 14 years, I sometimes don't know how stuff works because they changed how it works, but that's just like a minor annoyance. We'll probably talk more about that because there's a few other things that are a little harder if you started playing earlier, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, we would probably classify this as a sandbox survival game. We could say a lot about that, and we probably will, because there's a lot more to it than just survival. You can play it that way, but there's creative mode, and then there's a bunch of, just the way the game is made, there's so much opportunity for people to make up their own game modes. Like, that sandbox is really the most important word in that category. because you can just really do whatever you want in this game. and it's very, very easy to mod. There's tons of mods for it, which is great because you can just make the game whatever you want it to be, which is really cool.
Yeah, extremely cool. And I don't know if you just said this. I apologize if you did, but this is like, wouldn't you say this is like the most popular? Like, actually, I don't know. I'm guessing it is because I mean this is a huge game, but I'm guessing this is one of, if not the most popular, like survival game and probably sandbox game for that matter, just because of how well it's been done.
Oh yeah, I would definitely think
Yeah.
so. I mean, I'd say that when this game came out, there weren't that many survival games out there. I don't think. Not that I remember anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh no, yeah, I don't think there
then
were that
after
many.
Minecraft, a bunch of new games in a similar style came out. I don't know if any of them did it as well, because I think the blocky nature of Minecraft makes it really easy to add new stuff, and it's like simple enough that everyone gets it, but it's also deep enough if you know what you're doing that you don't
Yeah.
get bored.
Also, I will say this is kind of a technical thing to get into right off the bat, but like I will say, I think for a lot of survival games, well at least nowadays, a lot of survival games try to take on like a more realistic like look and like more realistic geometry in terms of like how the world is developed and how the character models are developed and all that, which is cool. But I will say, I feel like the fact that Minecraft is a very blocky game makes the like it helps the world generation and just like the overall functionality of the game in like a huge way, because like I feel like with world generation being made it like entirely of blocks or whatever, it doesn't really look weird. If that like you can't really have weird world generation. I mean, sometimes there'll be like floating chunks of land or whatever, but because of like the blockiness of the world, there's no geometry that you look at that's kind of like, oh, that kind of seems out of place. Like just because of how Minecraft looks, everything kind of looks natural when it's generated. Whereas like
Yeah.
in other survival games, because they're using more realistic like world generation, I feel like the ground can kind of be like the world itself can be kind of like rigid and just odd looking at times. And I just feel like that world generation has been nailed by Minecraft. Like they've done it so well, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's mainly because it like that blockiness is so huge in Minecraft.
Well, that's also one of Minecraft's like top selling points is that it's infinite. Like the world just goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if technically there's a limit, but like you can walk in one direction for hours and hours and hours.
I think there is a limit, but you would have to.
You're not gonna hit it.
Yeah, if playing the game naturally, you'd have to like want to go there to actually hit that boundary, and it's not going to be the most entertaining thing to get there. Like it'd be a cool accomplishment, but yeah, you're not going to be running into that border anytime soon. There's so much space for you to work with, and it's
Yeah.
pretty dang cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing, even though I kind of liked the simplicity of the older Minecraft, which was, there weren't that many different biomes at that point, everything kind of looked the same, I will say the new biomes are pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of variety. If you keep walking, like I just said, you're gonna find a lot of new stuff. It's not just a bunch of the same. Like, there's actually a reason to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And each biome has different resources that you can't find anywhere else, and it has structures. There are villages to find, and fortresses or whatever. What are they? I don't even know what they call them now. There's so much stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there's the Nether, which is like a completely different dimension. So you already have an infinite world, and then you can go to a completely different world.
Which
And
I
then
think,
there's the end, which is another completely different world. So
yeah, and
there's a lot of content in this game.
I don't know if you know this, but you can now like, I guess this is kind of a spoiler for anybody who's playing the game, but like I think now I don't know if you know this, but like we're doing a Minecraft playthrough right now, and like you've said, there's a lot of stuff you've kind of not been familiar with just because you haven't played in a while. And I will tell you, I don't know if this is... Do you want a spoiler, or would you rather not have a spoiler?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Because if we get to the end and beat the Ender Dragon, there's an area in the end beyond that point that you can go to, which is kind of cool. Which, you probably may have seen that, because do you know where you get the elytras and stuff?
Are you talking about like end cities or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah, the end cities. Yeah, they've added like an even like another area to the end, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
see,
But
I've never even seen that, but it awaits. I'm
it
sure
does
we'll visit
await.
it soon.
Yeah. But yeah, they're just the exploring in this game is quite fun. I will say one change that they made, that we both agree on, I'm pretty sure. Like I thought this was cool at first, but the new cave generation, I'm honestly not a fan of. Aesthetically, it could be cooler, but in terms of mining, I find it to be a lot more tedious than it is enjoyable, just because it's so open, and some ores are like harder to get than others. Like I granted I strip mine for this, but like diamonds I have found to be a lot easier to obtain than iron in my opinion, and that's just because I don't really like finding more and more caves to explore for iron and stuff. It's just like you'll find ores in these big caves that look cool, but it's such a like hassle to get the ore because it's either on the ceiling or across on another wall that's like across a chasm, and it's a lot of effort to mine now, whereas in like the old Minecraft days, sure they were like kind of narrow tunnels of like stone or whatever, but I feel like that simplicity is what made it like fun to mine. It just wasn't a hassle. You explored, but you mined, and then you got your materials, and then you came out, and it was a fun experience. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The new cave generation, it I get what they were going for, but it doesn't feel like Minecraft in some ways. The
Mm-hmm.
old caves would be these like very long, interconnected but like narrow passageways with some open areas, but nothing like the new caves.
Yeah.
And they would branch off in all different directions, and you could end up just like miles from your house without even realizing it because you're just exploring these branches and finding, so much material while you do it. And then I feel like when that started to have problems is when they introduced ravines, which was a while ago. But it wasn't broken yet. There were still caves, but you would just find ravines kind of breaking up the caves, and it didn't feel like you were ever deep in the earth because there was always like a ravine that the cave fed into. And so that's one thing that I feel like I kind of miss from the old Minecrafts, but I also see why they decided to change it a little bit because they were just going for some more I don't know, like open and
Well,
more interesting
yeah.
looking caves.
And I will say I honestly kind of felt like the ravines were kind of cool with the old system, just because you'd be in like those narrow tunnels or whatever, and then you'd hit a ravine, and sure that's an open area like the newer Minecraft caves, but it was like long but not very wide, meaning like there was a ton of open area, but it wasn't like I had to go, I didn't have to like struggle too much to get to another side and like get some ore. Like hitting a ravine was kind of satisfying when you were deep down because it would reveal a ton of different ore that you can mine, but it wasn't
Yeah.
hard to get to that ore. And I know that openness is still kind of like rough sometimes, but like I feel like ravines did it just right, just because they weren't as open, but still it was kind of like finding a valuable spot in a cave. Like you got to an open spot, there was usually lava for obsidian. It was a good place to find diamonds. It was just a good place to find materials in general, but it wasn't as expansive as like the new Minecraft caves, which is I got a good like balance between what it did with like the newer Minecraft caves. It's just, yeah, the old system was a lot better, and I do think the ravines were a good addition just because it was nice to find those every once in a while.
Yeah, that's true. I don't hate ravines. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're cool in some ways. I just am saying that's kind of an example of like messing with the formula that already exists that can be a little frustrating because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the caves used to feel really fun to explore, and then it's like you got to be careful messing with what's already working well. I don't always think the new caves are bad. They look really cool, and it's kind of like a I don't it's not creepy. I don't know what word I'm looking for exactly, but the big openness, it's just like it's daunting maybe.
Yeah, it might be
It like
daunting.
it looks challenging to explore these big areas because there's so many enemies and it's very dark and very wide open, and so it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish they would have just limited that to certain biomes or something.
Yeah.
and then left the regular caves like the way they were for, all those years that people are used to.
Oh, and you know what? I think I just realized why I may actually not like the new Minecraft cave generation system. And on what you said, I don't know if you agree with this, but like, I don't always hate the caves in terms of like the visuals. I feel like visually they can be really cool. I will say most, like 90% of the time, I just don't like their generation gameplay wise, because I think I've realized that the reason why I hate those new caves is because it emphasizes a lot of vertical movement and exploration rather than horizontal. And I feel like that makes it more frustrating to mine, because with the old Minecraft system, you would naturally descend, and you wouldn't need to worry about how you descended. You just went into the cave, and it naturally led you down further and further. Whereas with these new caves, you're given a large chasm that you can go down into, but there's no natural way to do that, so you have to worry about getting down safely. Which is not difficult, it's just time-consuming and sometimes tedious to do. And I don't feel like
you
the
shouldn't have to have a water bucket to get everywhere.
Yeah.
Or just use a billion blocks to build a staircase down. It's just kind of a pain.
It's kind of a pain to do that, and I think that vertical aspect of the new caves is like, that I think is one of the main reasons why I dislike it, is just like, it doesn't feel natural in like gameplay progression. Because like those old caves, they just, like, sure, you'd hit a dead end and you may have to mine further or whatever, like you may have to mine a little bit to continue, but it was natural for the most part, and you could get down to like, diamond level or wherever you were looking for naturally without building or mining most of the time. And it just felt nice. It felt like convenient, and I don't know if you really need like a vertical challenge when mining. Like, it's cool to explore those caves and see what there is to offer, but when I'm mining, it's really unsatisfying to hit a giant pit that I have to find a way down into.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It does put a little more emphasis on the just making your own mine type playstyle, because I didn't used to do that too much. I would just find a cave and take whatever I could find in there, but now I am relying a little bit more on strip mining at the, proper level for whatever you're looking for, which is actually kind of fun, because it feels, I don't know, it's kind of satisfying when you find whatever you're looking for, just because it's not like right there, like you dug for it.
Yeah.
So when you finally see it, it's like, yes, and I agree with what you said earlier. I don't know why they did this, but diamond seems to be way easier to find now, almost easier than iron. Like, I was strip mining for coal the other day, and I couldn't find any coal. Now, I was looking at the wrong level from the wiki for half of that time, but then I readjusted and still found very little coal during that time. But I go down to the level for diamond, and it's like, every 5 or 10 minutes I'm finding a nice hunk of diamonds.
Absolutely.
That's not how Minecraft used to be. I don't feel like. I felt like diamonds were way more rare before.
Oh, they were, and I mean, it was more fun to find them naturally than I would say strip mining, just because of that. Like, the new caves, I feel like, make mining so much worse, and I know I keep coming back to this, but it's like, I can tell you right now, strip mining for iron and coal I think is less efficient than actually just going into a cave and finding them. But because of how the new caves are, I really don't feel incentivized to go into them, because it's not fun going to look for them. It's like,
yes, because you'll see like one piece of coal up like 20 blocks from where you are on the ground, and it's like, I have to make something to climb all the way up there to get this one little thing of coal.
And
that's just annoying.
It's very annoying, and I feel like it just kind of ruined the balance of mining, because now you and I are just kind of resorting to strip mining for diamonds, and it's like, I don't think strip mining should be taken away from the game. Like, I don't even know if you could remove that, but I feel like strip mining is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. But before, you could actually choose between the two, I feel like both options had, like, satisfaction in them, and merit to them. Like, if you explored a regular cave, you could go searching regularly and have fun with it, because the caves were, like, naturally kind of helped you with the gameplay progression, and it was just kind of more satisfying to explore and mine that way. Whereas with strip mining, if you were just looking for something and wanted to get to it quick, you could just do that. It may not be as fun or cool as, like, actually exploring, but it still worked pretty dang effectively. and you could choose between the two. That was like great. But now I feel obligated to strip mine because I really don't want to have to build up and down to get to ores, and it's like I like the player made mines and strip mining, but it's just kind of sad that I feel more satisfied doing that than the actual cave exploring, even though the caves are supposed to be cooler, and it's just I'm not a fan of the newer cave systems like at all. I don't think.
Yeah, and the worst feeling for me is when I'm strip mining and then I dig into a cave like that, and it's like, ugh, because it ruins your whole flow. You gotta either go a different direction or just decide, well, I guess I'm gonna explore a cave now. But it's not the biggest deal. It's still fun to explore those caves. It's just, I wish they were a little more rare, I guess.
Yeah.
But the good thing about Minecraft is that they've added so many other things to explore besides mines, which I know it's called Minecraft, but there's plenty of exploration even if you're not going to be doing as much of it in caves, and so it's not like you're missing out on that, and we're probably going to get into that in a minute, but first, it's time for our daily grub report.
Oh yeah. And this time, it's probably not going to be so much, it's not really grub so much as it is what is another word for, I'm looking for another word that isn't drink.
Beverage.
Well, beverage, yeah.
I'd say it fits in the grub category.
You could go with, like, soda pop or something, I don't know. But,
yeah.
Today my whole point with this is today we're looking at colas today. Because, there's some discussion to be had there. I mean, Well, when we're talking colas, does this also include Dr. Pepper? And I know this is like...
No, I don't think Dr. Pepper's a cola.
Dr. Pepper's not a cola? Okay.
I don't think so.
Alright. Well, what is a cola then? May I ask?
That's actually a good question. Why don't we... Let's see what the definition of cola is, and then we'll see if we actually agree with it.
Because depending upon what the definition is, I know it's not the same thing as these, but I feel like Dr. Pepper almost fits into the taste of a cola. It may not actually be a cola. I don't think so.
I think it's pretty different.
You think so?
But that's just my opinion. But here's the definition. A brown carbonated drink that is flavored with an extract of cola nuts or with a similar flavoring. So it has to...
So that's probably
be
not
somewhat
Dr. Pepper,
similar
then.
to the cola nuts.
Yeah.
No, Dr. Pepper is... They have different flavors entirely, I would say.
Okay. Well, if Dr. Pepper is in fact a cola, I don't think it is, but if it is, I will say that is probably one of my favorite colas, better than Pepsi and Coca-Cola, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, since it's
Actually, wait, okay, I have to slightly correct what I said, because Dr. Pepper always says they have 23 flavors on their packaging or whatever. And one of the 23 flavors is cola, but
that's not their main flavor though, is it?
Cherry, licorice, amaretto, almond, vanilla, blackberry, apricot, caramel, pepper, anise, sarsaparilla, ginger, molasses, lemon, plum, orange, nutmeg, cardamom, allspice, coriander, juniper, birch, and prickly ash. So it's only 1/23 cola.
Oh, those are all ingredients that flavor it?
Those are all the different ingredients in Dr. Pepper.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were listing flavors there for a second, and I was like, these are some of those are quite interesting, but if that's everything used in it, okay, is it by definition a cola then? Because, like, it's part cola.
No, it's only 1/23 a cola, and I would say... I mean, if you're gonna go... I guess if you're gonna go... but it's not... It only includes cola, so... I don't know. I'm confused. I wouldn't include it, because...
Well, do most...
Think back to when we did our whole cola test. We didn't include Dr. Pepper in that.
We did a cola test?
It's too different. Yeah, when we went to the store and we got all those different colas.
Oh, yeah. We got, like, the Kroger brand and all that. Or, I guess that wasn't Kroger. It was, like, Big K or something.
Yeah. I think that's basically the same thing, but... Yeah. I think it's different, but...
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it technically includes cola, but it's not a fair comparison because not every cola includes the other 22.
Yeah, the other 22 ingredients.
it wouldn't make sense to compare it, I don't think.
So unless there's something similar to it, that kind of sounds like Dr. Pepper's its own thing. But, well, that's a discussion for another day because colas, we need to get to colas.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Dr. Pepper's delicious.
It's delicious.
It's not a cola.
Yeah, okay, colas. Let's get to colas.
Okay.
Okay, I want to say really quickly off the bat, I have a very opinionated take on the Coca-Cola brand, and that is that Diet Coca-Cola, which is still good, is inferior to Diet Pepsi. And I know that's hopping right into it, but I can say right there is no debate in my opinion. Diet Coca-Cola does not taste... You can tell there is a very significant difference compared to the real thing in terms of diet, whereas Pepsi has a pretty similar product. Because there's an aftertaste in Diet Coke that is very noticeable. Or I don't even know if it's aftertaste, but like I think it's aftertaste. It's something about Diet Coke that is very different, whereas Pepsi kind of matched their original recipe in diet form. And
yes,
Coca-Cola's not bad. Diet Coca-Cola's not bad. It's just Pepsi does it better, and I feel like Diet Pepsi is better for that reason.
Yep, I agree with that. And Coke Zero, it has a different flavor than Diet Coke, but it's still not the same as regular Coke. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little closer. I don't know. It almost tastes like Coke Lime to me, but it doesn't have any lime. But I guess both of those diet versions of Coke just don't taste as good as the real one. I'll still drink them, but I much prefer Diet Pepsi or Pepsi. It used to be called Pepsi Max. I think it's Pepsi Zero Sugar now. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have the Pepsi, and I'd probably rather have a Pepsi than a Coke, even regular, which I know a lot of people are like probably going to be upset by that, but I like both. I just think Pepsi is a little more refreshing. I don't know why that is.
I'd have to agree with you
on that. Quenches the thirst
a
little more.
I don't know why, but it almost feels like, not in taste, but like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess this is just a weird way of saying it's refreshing, but it almost feels more watery than Coca-Cola. Like, when I taste Coca-Cola, it's like, yeah, this is a drink, but I don't feel like I'm actually drinking something hydrating, whereas Pepsi's like, yeah, this tastes good, and I'm also getting, I feel a little bit more hydrated while drinking it. Now, not to say that's, like, the main reason why you're drinking soda, but it's like, when you're having a beverage, you want to feel hydrated. Like, that's part of the satisfaction of having it. And yeah. I feel like on a hot summer day, with ice cubes in a, like, soda beverage, you want to go for something that will, hit with that high hydration feeling. And so I think Pepsi is better for that reason. But I think these are both really good sodas. I just feel like Pepsi has a more consistent quality in all of their products, and it's just something I probably like the taste of better. But, I mean, I feel like there's not one that's really better than the other. I feel like it just kind of comes down to your tastes. Because I feel like they're both really good products. There's, like, not one better than the other. It's just kind of preference, but, yeah.
Yeah, I like them both a lot. And they both have a lot of different flavors, too, like lime, cherry. Coke even has two different kinds of cherry. There's one that's, like, spicy cherry, which is weird. Mm-hmm. It was, like, burning my mouth, and I couldn't figure out why, because it was just, like, I think they call it cherry spice. And I thought it was just kind of a special kind of cherry. I don't know.
Was that in the lineup of all the that was in the lineup of all the really weird flavors, right? And I'm not saying like incredibly weird, but there was one that was like blood orange, one that
it wasn't in that. Oh wait. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I think it was. It wasn't in the same lineup as like the Dream one and all that.
Those are their own thing. Those are the like I'd say pretty wacky ones, but
yeah. But yeah, it was in these like special flavors. And then I looked, and it had, like, chili pepper in it, or something. Some kind of spicy pepper, which I never expected. It was still good, but it just burned a little too much, I guess.
I just, in terms of a drink, I don't know if I want a soda, like, actually burning my mouth, I'm not a spice guy, like, I'm usually just not a spice guy. I feel like it takes away from the flavor, and, like, I know it's, like, a sensation to enjoy during eating. But I feel like it most of the time just takes away from the taste and other, like, actual good parts of a meal. So, I'm not a spice guy, but especially in a drink, I don't know if I want to be having something spicy. It's a unique idea, but I feel like that may not be Coke's strongest flavor for that reason.
But that's just some weird...
Oh, that's just some weird flavor
they had. But there are some colas that are really not good, and they don't taste anywhere close to Coke or Pepsi. When we did our test, okay, so the background is we watched oh my goodness,
Food
what is
Theory.
his name? Food Theory, Matt
Yeah.
Batt. We watched him sample a bunch of different types of colas and try them out and rank them. And we wanted to see if we agreed. And we weren't able to find all the brands he had because some of them are like, depending on your location, tough to find. But we tried several of them, and I'm trying to remember what the worst one was. It might have been Big Red. Does that sound familiar?
Well, there was Big K.
Oh, Big K. But Big Red is its own thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Or Red...
The only brand I remember us buying is Big K, which is the King Super local, or like King Super's brand, basically. And I don't remember the other ones. Now, the King Supers...
Oh, it might have been... well, okay, so Big Red is a soft drink, but it's not that. We didn't try that. You're right, it was Big K, but I think we might have also gotten Royal Crown, is that right? RC
Royal
Cola?
Crown. I can only remember RC Cola, actually. Yeah, that does sound a little bit familiar, but the only one I can for sure remember is Big K. And the reason why I remember that...
Big K.
It's not the real deal. It's not as sweet as actual colas, but I think for the price it was pretty dang, like, it was pretty good. I'm not saying it's going to be better than Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Those are definitely going to be better. But I thought for the price it was decent. It was a decent cola.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to have nothing or soda that's like really cheap, then I'd take it. It's not like disgusting, but compared to the main brands, it's not great.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think what else we tried, because I think the other ones were not even close. Like, that one was the closest to Coke. It wasn't good, but it was close. But we tried a couple other ones that were just bad, and I think the problem is they just taste watered down or something. Like, there's not as much syrup, or the syrup just has a slightly weird aftertaste.
No,
Especially
I think it's
in the ones that are full sugar, you just don't want that. It doesn't make sense.
like, you're saying in the ones that use the same amount of sugar, like it tastes watered down.
Yeah, like, I'm not talking about diet. I'm saying, like, some of the full sugar brands that are off brands, they taste almost like diet, because there's just a weird, like, chemical taste.
Actually, yeah, I understand that, and I actually will kind of agree with you on that. Well, yeah, if you're getting like a sweet product and you're actually, consuming actual sugar to like enjoy that or whatever, I hate when products use the same amount as something else that's similar or better, and yet it tastes like nowhere near as good. That's kind of why I have a problem with like Angel Food Cake and Strawberry Shortcake, and why I agree with you here. It's like, those are probably packed with just as much sugar. Well, maybe not just as much, but a pretty dang close amount of sugar to other things that I probably enjoy more. And it's like, why would I go with something that has a more delicate flavor, but the same amount of sugar, It's like, I need that punch if I'm going to be eating that amount of sugar, It's like, so I agree with you in the drink-wise, yeah. I feel like you should be getting that bang for your buck, so to speak.
Yep. Now, this is going back to official Coke, and I know you don't eat at McDonald's ever, and I really don't either, because I got food poisoning there once, and I haven't worked up the bravery to try it again, although I've thought about it. But McDonald's Coke is fantastic, and there is a good reason for that. McDonald's has the special agreement with Coca-Cola to have the syrup delivered in stainless steel tanks instead of bags like every other restaurant, and that protects it from light, temperature, air, and anything else. And they also set it to be stored at the exact right temperature, whatever that is. They pre-chill their syrup according to allrecipes.com. And they I've also heard somewhere that they're allowed to use a little bit more syrup than other places. I don't know if that part's true, but it's so good. I mean, you can tell that it's different. It is actually delicious.
I didn't know any of this, so I might have to try a Coca-Cola from... Like, does this also include diet when you go to a McDonald's?
I don't know about that.
Either way, I'd have to
say
sample like an actual
because I usually
Coca-Cola.
get diet, and I feel like I noticed the difference. But we should try it.
We should.
But yeah, it's still Coke. You can tell, but there's just something a little extra.
Mm-hmm.
Also, have you tried Pepsi Nitro?
Yeah, we did. Which
okay, wait, I'm mixing two things. So Pepsi Nitro is a thing, which I think we both liked.
You're talking about the one that has like a ton of caffeine in it, aren't you?
No.
Or
so
wait, is that one?
Pepsi Nitro is carbonated with nitrogen
Yeah,
instead of CO2.
That's
right?
what I thought, yeah.
Which basically means it's like still very foamy, but the bubbles are a lot smoother and smaller, but there's more of them, I think. It's like if you've gotten a nitro cold brew before, it's kind of the same thing. But what I'm talking about is Pepsi Black, I think. No. Do you know what I'm talking about? It has all different, it's like premium ingredients.
No, I don't think I've actually tried that, and I haven't heard about it until now.
I'm mixing up the Mountain Dew version. Well, anyway, it's a special type of Pepsi that's like a little more expensive. It comes in a tall can instead of the fat one, and it, claims to have like all premium ingredients, and it's supposed to be so much better. That thing tastes like dirt. It tastes exactly like you're drinking mud.
Oh, I was expecting that to go in a very different direction.
No, it's really bad, and I would not waste my money on it.
Which
is disappointing.
That's kind of the same as well, maybe not the taste, but like quality of taste is the same as like Pepsi Crystal, isn't it? Or whatever that was called. Whatever the clear Pepsi was, they released that and then re-released it more recently, I think. But I don't think people liked that one, did they?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I guess Pepsi, just there are some things that Pepsi can't get right, but
yeah. And we never had the misfortune of trying New Coke, so I guess
they went back
whoever
on that?
has is all Coke New Coke now? I thought people hated it so much.
I don't know. I thought they stuck with that or something. I don't know. I thought there was like a group that really liked New Coke and then a group that really didn't. It was just kind of 50-50. But I could be wrong.
So this says New Coke was the unofficial name of a reformulation of the soft drink Coca-Cola in 1985. It was renamed Coke 2 in 1990 and discontinued in July 2002. So people just absolutely hated it, and I'm glad I would actually like to just taste what it's like, but
yeah,
I'm glad that they didn't just stick with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and sorry, I wanna finish this out with some. Well, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but before the grub conversation ends, I want to ask, like, we need a mini ranking here of containers that, like, the enjoyment that can be had with each container for soda, and I'm putting this in a really weird way, but basically what I'm asking is, like, what does each container of soda contribute to, like, the enjoyment of the soda, and, like, what's your ranking for that? Because, like, I'd have to say glass bottle is, like, the most enjoyable. Then it goes, this is where we disagree, I'm pretty sure. Then it goes, like, soda can. I think soda can comes next, and then, like, plastic bottle is the bottom. Because I feel like, maybe not so much, like, I don't know if it's just the fact that I don't really think plastic as a material is, like, enjoyable to, drink something out of as much as, like, a can or, like, glass bottle. But I feel like it may affect the taste, and it's just not as good. Like, it isn't as enjoyable of a product. Because, like, with a plastic bottle, I feel like you can't feel that icy cold feeling from the drink. And it doesn't like complement the soda beverage as much. So I don't know. Glass, soda can, and then plastic are how I rank it, just because the plastic isn't as good as the top two.
Well, I still agree on glass for sure being the best. Unfortunately, there's no diet in a glass bottle, as far as I know. At least that I've seen around here. But
I don't think there is, yeah.
I have to put plastic above can because of the same reason you said, but I think that it makes it taste worse. I think you get can flavor in your soda. It tastes metallic-y. And if you dump from a can and a bottle into 2 cups, I feel like you'll be able to tell which one was in the can. And I feel like the bottle, the plastic bottle one, tastes closer to just pure Coke or cola, whatever it is.
I don't know. I honestly feel like no matter, like, if it's not a glass bottle, you're gonna get, like, a taste of the container it's in. And I'd honestly rather taste the aluminum can rather than, like, the plastic bottle. It's like...
I don't feel like you taste anything from the bottle.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes
it leaves your drink completely as it should be. But that's just me. I don't have a problem drinking out of a can. It tastes good either way. So
yeah,
it's just like, if I have the option, I'd pick a bottle. But
hey, I mean, the container contributes something, man. I know it doesn't seem like it does, but it does. It definitely does.
Yeah. So we've gone pretty long on this grub report, but
yeah.
we do need a grub ranking on cola in general, and
Cola
then
in general.
Say your... I guess we already said our favorite cola, but say your least favorite cola that you've tried.
Least favorite? I mean, probably just any of the off-brand ones. I feel like as long as it's name brand, like, it's just pretty good. So I'd have to say, like, it's not bad. I just feel like the off-brand or, like, not necessarily, like, the most popular brands are as good. And it's just for a reason, you know, like, Pepsi and Coke have just been doing such a good job. I feel like that, you know, it's kind of hard to compete. And off-brands aren't going to be horrible. They're just not as good as Coke and Pepsi, I would say.
Yeah. And what's your...
Oh, grub rating, sorry. I'd say 4. In terms of beverages, cola can be pretty dang satisfying, especially during the summer on a hot day. If it's a nice cold cola, it is pretty dang good, so I'd have to say like a 4.
Yeah. I'm also going to give it a 4, and I also drink way too much of it, so that backs up my rating. But I'm going to say Pepsi is my favorite. Definitely, if I can get, like, the throwback Pepsi, that's the best kind, because that's just pure sugar. But the worst kind is definitely Kmart's brand. I don't know the name of it, but it was just disgusting. And so, don't try it. If you want a cheap one, go for Big K, I guess. But I'd try to stick with the main colas.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, there you have our thoughts on cola. Now, let's get back to Minecraft.
All right.
What I was saying...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Before we went to our grub, is Minecraft has added a lot of really cool stuff to explore outside of the mines. And that's a good thing. It's one of the things that makes it really hard to learn when you're a older player trying to, like, figure everything out again. But once you do, it's actually a lot of fun. Like last night, we just visited some nether... What the heck are they called? Bastions?
Bastion remnants, yeah.
Bastion remnants. And those are a lot of fun, because they're actually a challenge, and there's good loot in them.
I'm not a fan of the nether. Well, and the thing is, we went to a Bastion remnant last night, and I am very stingy. I don't know if this is the right word, but I'm very, very cautious about what I bring into dangerous situations, because, like, sure, if you bring in better gear, you have a better chance of survival, but at the same time, it's higher risk, high reward, right? Like, you can survive longer potentially, or you could just lose all that. And you decided to bring in diamond armor, which was probably the smarter decision. But, like, whenever I go into the nether, I try to avoid bringing diamond gear unless I get a surplus, and I guess a surplus means more than I can possibly fathom or something. But, like, yeah, I try to be very cautious about what I bring in, and I go with iron, and then I die a lot, and that's exactly what happened last night. Because you didn't die a single time, whereas I went in there and died like 4 or 5 times, and it's like, I don't know how you do it, but
if I make good armor, I want to use it, because I mean, I always try to save my best stuff for like the hardest situation, and you really made it sound like it was going to be very difficult. So I just decided to bring my good stuff, and it helped a lot. But I also played like kind of a coward, and I just
you actually
very
played
very safe paths where enemies couldn't get me, and you were kind of presenting yourself as the bait a little bit more.
Which is a nice way of saying I was playing very haphazardously.
No, it was good because you were able to get down to the very bottom, which was surrounded by lava, and get all the gold blocks. But that's just it. That's what makes Minecraft fun. There's so many different strategies because it's, like we said, it's a sandbox, and you can do anything you want to accomplish whatever you're trying to do. You make up your own goals too. Like, we didn't even have to go there. It was just our choice. There's nothing telling you what you have to do.
Exactly.
We're also playing with our mom and sister, and they're in the same world as us, and they're not doing anything similar to what we're doing.
They are currently trying to like capture every animal possible, basically. But
yeah, they're making a zoo, basically.
Which it's pretty magnificent, I have to say. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But I wanted to say, like, you basically just made a very good point that I think relates to the farming aspect of this game, and I'm not talking about like literal farming, but in Minecraft, it's such a unique game because you can make farms, which are essentially just machines or like processes that make getting certain things more efficient, like a lot more efficient than usual. And Minecraft, I feel like, is a game that actually knows how to like do farming right. And what I mean by that is they don't restrict you on how you farm. Farming is completely up to you. There are many different ways on how you can farm for XP, items, and just stuff in general. And I feel like so many like survival games these days suffer from something like that, because I feel like anytime there's some sort of like beneficial thing to the players and like, you know, it's something that can be used for efficiency, it's removed. And I get that makes sense in like competitive like survival games or something like that. But in a game like Minecraft, where you don't really play for competitive reasons, you like work together, I don't see the reason why games decide to remove that stuff, because it's cool to use farms, and I get that sometimes you may need to make stuff more balanced, but like if you're not facing anybody that is like your actual opponent, if it's just AI or whatever, I don't feel like having that efficient progression needs to be removed. And Minecraft hasn't done that because there are so many XP farms and farms you can use to get items that are cool, and you don't even have to use them if you don't want to progress that way in the game. That's like the beauty of it. You can just play normally, or you can choose to do that. And it's, yeah, I have so many games I feel like remove processes like that, and it hurts the game overall.
Yes. And, of course, if someone wants to make a server where they don't allow that, there are mods that make it so that farming is not possible. And so, you know, you can just customize this game however you want. But I like how they don't punish people's creativity. Like, if you find a good way to gather a lot of resources, they let you do that. A lot of games would find a way to patch that out so that you can't use that anymore. And that's just annoying because some of these things are really hard to get as it is. And then, you know, just it feels like you're getting punished for playing the game properly, which is kind of weird.
And I feel like there are some players that do, like, honestly complain about the fact that farms exist. And it's just because, like, you know, they want to do it legitimately, and then there are players who do it, you know, regularly or whatever. And it's like, I don't understand that thought process, because it's like, yeah, I get that, you know, you want it to be legitimate or whatever, but that sometimes hurts the fun, because it's like, somebody found out how to do this, and they're not keeping it to themselves, of course. They're, like, offering it to everybody who may want to use it, and you have the freedom to either use that or do your own thing. And just, like, if somebody else is using it, great. Just do your own thing, do it regularly. And I don't know. I just feel like there are people complain about it just because it's not the way they want it to be, because it's, like, too efficient or it's just cheap or something. But I feel like in a game like Minecraft, where it's not competitive, it fosters creativity for progression and just satisfaction. It's like, that is completely fine. I feel like in competitive scenarios, no, you gotta balance it, but like in a game like Minecraft, other survival games should take notes and follow that process because it's part of the fun of the game in just choosing what you want to do.
Even when it comes to making farms, somehow they achieved a pretty good balance because it still takes a good amount of resources. You can't just start a game and have everything available. Like, you still have to explore and collect and get to the point of you have to survive long enough to be able to build the farm, and usually you have to find those resources the manual way before you're at the point where you can get a working farm anyway. Like, for example, just a simple example, food. When you first start, you're not going to have a farm ready with food.
Yeah.
You might start like a crop farm to begin with, where you're just building, or you're just growing wheat and making bread or potatoes. But even before that, you have to just find meat or something. But eventually you get to the point, like, we've built our own little KFC, which, you know, it replenishes itself. Like, chickens just continue to lay eggs, which hatch, and then those chickens automatically become cooked, and all you have to do is open a chest and you have food. And that's the kind of thing that's very satisfying, because once you get it working, you just are set there and you can move on to another goal. You don't feel like you're constantly balancing all these different things just because the game doesn't want you to, I don't know, be creative.
Yeah.
So there's that. And this whole time we've been talking about the main game of Minecraft, which is just playing survival. But the really cool thing about Minecraft is that it's simple and deep at the same time. And so people can make really cool games out of the basic building blocks of Minecraft. Like, one of the coolest ones that I used to play, which was around the time Hunger Games came out, the movie, they called it survival games in Minecraft, and it was totally different. You didn't try to mine or build houses or whatever. You were just looking around a map that was already created and finding resources for combat, like swords and armor and arrows and potions and stuff. And that was a ton of fun. And like, it's the same game. You already have access to that, but it's a completely different experience, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
Bed Wars, for example.
Yeah, Bed Wars is another cool one. I don't think I was ever like, no, I guess I did play it a little bit, but yeah, Bed Wars is something I played every once in a while, and I have played it recently. Not incredibly recently, but yeah, Bed Wars is another fun one. And I think just Hypixel in general is just like cool Minecraft server that has a ton of different game modes that are cool. But yeah, I mean, like, there are some pretty cool Minecraft servers that have, like, a ton of different games that, you know, put a nice twist on, like, the typical Minecraft experience, but are still, you know, use the elements of Minecraft to make it fun and, like, enjoyable, you know?
Yeah. And then, even if you're still playing survival, there's also some challenges that you can do. There's, like, Survival Island, which is where you're just stuck on a tiny island in the middle of a massive ocean, and I'm not sure if that one still works anymore because they've changed the way oceans are so much. But there's also Skyblock, which is where you're on a really tiny island way up in the sky, and there's no ground. Like, you're just floating, and you have to find a way to survive. And I think some of the newer ones might have goals for you to complete, but it's just really cool that you have options besides just the regular game. But the regular game is plenty by itself too.
Yeah. And I just thought of this, but do we want to give like a mini take on what we think of the Minecraft movie trailer? Oh
yeah, I actually haven't even watched the whole thing because I was so disgusted with it. But just the part that I saw.
I think one of the main criticisms I've been seeing is that it should have been an animated movie, which I do have to I think I have to agree with, because like I kind of what am I trying to say? Sorry, I have to think about how to formulate this, because sometimes I got like the idea in my mind and I can't get the words out. But like, I think every time Minecraft is like trying to tease new content or just, advertise like information regarding Minecraft on their like YouTube channel, they have like little animated bits, like I think there's like, it features like Steve or Alex or whatever, and it's like animated Minecraft shorts or whatever that like either advertise new like stuff that they're adding to the game or stuff that's already existing. And I feel like if they did something that was more like visually appealing with that same kind of style, I feel like that probably, not to say that it wasn't bad, but like if they basically made it look like, put more like effort into it for like, huge movie or whatever, like they're doing right now, I feel like that would have been perfect. I feel like that would have kept like a perfect Minecraft atmosphere, but instead they went with live action people. And I think I even saw a comment on the thing where it's like, it's probably going to be the trope where they've been transported into a world and they need to get away or whatever, right? And it's just like, there's a lot of cliches that could happen, and it's just not the right style.
When I first saw it, I thought, this is Jumanji, but just in Minecraft. It's like, it's going to be the same exact concept, just in a Minecraft world.
Yeah.
And
I think you may have even done... Sorry, Not a comment. I think you told me that, yeah.
I'm not even sure if that's what the story is, but that first scene where it shows like the 4 actors or whatever, it just looked exactly the same. And I don't think the fact that Jack Black is one of the main characters helps very much with that, because he was obviously in that too. But I'm kind of wondering why Jack Black needs to be in every single video game movie. I don't even dislike Jack Black. I think he's funny, but...
Well, I don't even think it's his fault either. It's just, I think the studios are like, man, we need a really popular actor to get this off the ground, Like, I just
don't think he fits for Steve, though.
He doesn't fit for Steve, and I honestly feel like I would like to see, like... It may be a risky move, just because you're using people that aren't, like, established already in, like, the acting world or whatever. But I feel like it would be a lot cooler... Well, I prefer it be animated, but even if you did like the live action, I'd prefer that you used like different people that are more fitting to the roles of the movie, rather than just going like, okay, we need big names for this just because, that'll print us money or whatever. But, of course they did that because they need to do that or whatever. But I also want to say the realistic adaptations to like the Minecraft look are kind of bad.
So bad.
Are pretty bad, because like, well, the first time you see the pink sheep or whatever, it's like, oh, this is bad. And then like,
someone made an animated version of it, like closer to the style of actual Minecraft, and it looks so much better. And I don't think that can probably fix whatever horrendous story we're probably going to be looking at, but
that animation style might fit a different movie. It's just we know Minecraft. You and I have been familiar with Minecraft for years, and that is something, that visual like style of like the animals in the world just do not really
insulting.
It's insulting the Minecraft style, yeah.
People have been making, like, individual YouTube creators have been making very complex Minecraft animations for years and years now. I don't know why they couldn't have just done something like that, but just with a bigger budget and made it look really good. Like all those music videos people used to make. Like, they were actually pretty in-depth animations.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure why they didn't think they could make a good movie out of that, because they actually looked pretty good.
But yeah, I mean...
overall, I'm not excited. I don't think it's going to be very good. I probably won't even see it unless they change it up a lot or the reviews are surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And I don't really see that happening.
I don't see that happening. That's a lot more... I feel like the quality of this one is a lot more clear than it was with the Mario movie, which I will say really quick, I don't know if we've discussed this before, but I want to really quickly touch on that. I feel like the Mario movie not even seeing the Minecraft movie, I know the Mario movie will be a much better job done of adapting that video game series to a movie than Minecraft did, or will do. But
yeah,
I will say, as a Mario fan, I still don't think the Mario movie was the best way you could have done that, just because I feel like it was a fun movie, but as a Mario fan, it didn't really align with, like, what a true Mario fan would expect. And I know a lot of people like disagree, but the plot didn't feel like it was Mario. The movie kind of felt like it used Mario characters for non-Mario-esque stuff. And I know that's not the topic of discussion today, but like, yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that another time probably, but yeah, that's another video game adaptation to a movie that was good and much better probably, but still, there's some stuff to be said there as well.
Yeah, that's what I felt like too, and I think that's a problem a lot of studios seem to have with adapting a well-known video game franchise. I don't know why they can't stick to what works, because a lot of these games already have a story. Minecraft is not one of them, but Minecraft should have a great story because people aren't stuck in trying to adapt a story that already exists. But if a good story already does exist, then don't change it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I feel like that's what Mario did. Mario didn't really feel like Mario. It just, like you said, used characters from the Mario universe in like its own kind of story, which I wasn't a big fan of. It was still a fun movie, and there was still good stuff in it, but it could have been better, in my opinion.
I would not classify it as a bad movie. That was not bad content by any means. Like, it's not... Like, it's a fun movie. Like, it is fun to watch. It's just not Mario. And I will say, I wanted to add onto that really quick. I don't think the partnership with Illumination helped that issue at all, really. And I'm not saying Illumination did a bad job. Illumination Studios, is that the right thing? Name or whatever. I think their visuals are pretty dang good in terms of, like, modern-day animation or whatever. It's the humor and the content that comes out of that studio that I am not a fan of. And because it's like
we've said, I don't know who decided on this, but probably them.
Yeah.
How or why do they need to shove 80s pop songs into every scene of their movies?
Didn't they put Take On Me in like the most random scene or something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Or just pop in general. Like, this is Mario. Use Mario music. Mario music is really good.
It is, and take it a step further and make, like, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I think in, like, the trailer for it, there's, like, a more orchestral version of, like, the classic Mario theme you hear from the original Mario song. And I feel like that's a very good step in the, like, the right direction. Am I saying it's, like, the best song ever? No, but, like, I'd still like that better than what they did with, like, the music, because it's, like, you took something that is familiar to the fan base that is going to be watching this, and you put a twist on it for the sake of, like, making the movie and making it more interesting, and I think that's awesome. Like, there's so many wonderful soundtracks from the Mario universe that they could have used, and they put Take On Me and other 80s stuff inside the movie, and it's like, of all movies, I did not expect this to be in the Mario movie, and that is not a pleasant surprise by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, we probably could have a whole episode on video game movies. Once the Zelda movie trailer comes out, I'll have a lot to say. It might be really good or really bad, but I'll have a lot to say.
I'm going to make my prediction right now. You're going to be saying, I feel like you're going to be saying some negative stuff. I'm sorry to say, but I hope
it's better than I expect. We'll see. I'm staying hopeful. Okay, but we might have to do a whole episode then.
Oh, yeah.
But for now, we've gone way off of Minecraft. And actually, we probably have gotten to the end of our episode, unfortunately. I just didn't even realize how much we were talking about cola and stuff, but it's been a good episode.
It has been a good episode, yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to our main overview of what we think of Minecraft. Personally, I'd say it's one of my favorite games of all time. I've taken large breaks in between the time I first started playing and now, just because it is the kind of game you can do that with. You can jump in and out whenever you want, and it's just there waiting for you when you're ready to come back, which is cool. And there are just some games that give you this little magical feeling when you first play them. For me, that was Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Pokemon Emerald, and Minecraft was one of them. I'm sure there's a few more, but they're pretty rare, and Minecraft was one of them, and so it's definitely in my top games of all time. What about you?
I would say it is the best survival game on the market right now, and it has been that for the longest time. So if you haven't tried it, I would highly recommend trying it. Like, if you are a person who likes survival games, it's pretty dang good. Like, the only bad thing I would say about this game is like the combat isn't too varied, and I'm a guy that likes combat. But still, there's still fun to be had. Like, the combat system is still good. There's like plenty of variety in exploration, crafting, and like just creativity in general. And yeah, it's one of the best survival sandbox games on the market for a reason right now. So I would give it a try if you can, and just
yeah. And
have
the good
fun
thing
with
is,
it.
it's not super expensive. Like, I'm not sure what Bedrock even costs, but I would recommend the Java version if you're playing on PC. Otherwise, if you're on console, you'll have to go with Bedrock. But Java was only like 30. Is that right?
30. I think.
We just had someone get a new account. It was either 30 or 40. And for
two.
the amount of time you'll get to spend playing this game, for that money, it's really good. Like, you'll get your money's worth. So
yeah,
I'd recommend it. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, I don't think there's anything else I need to add, but other than just saying thank you guys for listening as usual, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and tune in for the next one.
Yeah, as usual, thank you guys for listening or watching if you're on YouTube, and please, on whatever platform you're listening on, go ahead and follow us, give us a review if you can, and make sure you leave us your fan comments and questions so that we can discuss them on an upcoming episode and hear your feedback as well. You can send us an email at gamesandgrubpod@gmail.com or find us on X and Instagram at gamesandgrubpod. Aside from that, yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep gaming and keep grubbing.
Have a good day, everybody.